I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just what I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just what I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here.
How's everyone doing today? Awesome. Well, it's wonderful to see everyone here on this Labor Day weekend. I am so grateful that you are here to join us here today. My name is Dave, and I'll be your host / practitioner this morning. Our online host is Eric. Confirmed? All right, sweet. And if this is your first time watching online, please comment on how you found Genesis. Let's get together and read our mission and vision statements. Mission. We are building a vibrant community, cultivating a garden of spiritual growth, honoring vulnerability, creating a safe place of comfort and peace where all are welcome and accepted. And our vision. Genesis is a bright beacon with an unshakable heart of love, accepting all, home for the soul where we each creatively express our spiritual brilliance. Now, I'm wondering if we didn't have the slide up there one time, we should just take a test and see if we all memorize that by now. Okay, let's go on to our announcements. So we have My Election Intention, 100 Days of Mindful Practice. During election season from July 28th to 4th, we're cultivating a special mindfulness practice to raise the vibration for the 2024 U.S. presidential election, receive daily messages from New Thought leaders, participate in weekly Zoom community check-ins, and more. And there's a number that you can join to text in. So if you're interested in that, just let us know and we'll give you that number. Fantastic process. For our own Reverend James will be offering Essential Earnest Homes for the beginning of fall course. This class is offered online for 10 Wednesdays from 6 to 8 p.m. beginning on September 11th and running through November 20th. Based on the book Essential Herbs by Jesse Jennings and optionally The Science of Mind by Holmes himself, the course offers a deep exploration of Holmes' wisdom, highlighting his introspective and visionary writings. Participants will learn to apply his teachings to personalize and global challenges, emphasizing the power of human choice and the timeless relevance of his insights. That's a lot. If you like Ernest Holmes and you want the coolest of Ernest Holmes, come join the class. I'm just going to simplify it right there. All right, we're getting back to foundations. Cynthia is offering Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life on Tuesdays from October 9th to November 12th from 6 to 8:30. This course provides a comprehensive understanding of experiential exercises and interactive discussions. Students will uncover limiting beliefs, thoughts, and behaviors relating to relationships, money, and health, gaining practical tools to cultivate thriving relationships, unlock abundance and prosperity, and promote overall well-being. Early registration tuition is $190 before September 29th and $220 afterwards. And imagine if you're taking both of those classes, how your life would just be absolutely transformed. So I suggest doubling up and taking both of them. Needing extra support, celebrating a milestone, or facing a loss? Let Genesis Garden of Love be your voice. With your permission, we'll share your news with the community. Prefer more private touch? Our caring practitioners can start a heartfelt prayer for you. Reach out at info@genesiscsl.org or see a practitioner after service. And last but not least, we'll be having a book study today after service and most Sundays from 12 to 1 from This Thing Called You by Ernest Holmes. Drop in whenever you would like. Gotta love all those announcements. And so, if anyone is here for the first time online or anything like that, we are here with friends and family today, which is so awesome. And so I say, let's just get up and love and hug on each other with our meet and greet section. While that's going on. So we'll thank our volunteers today. We can hear that. Cynthia is our greeter. Christy is our greeter. Thank you. And Mike and Eric, projector and video. Okay, good. Yeah, I was thinking that right. Offering collection, Christy. Our sound tech, Jim Monson. Doing a great job on the sound. There you go. Was doing it perfect. Online host Eric. Service practitioner me. And our music guest is the beautiful Becca Palm. If we're going to give Becca Palm some love, we need to really give some love. I mean, that was like, all right, there. There you go. Thank you for that. Oh, no, I definitely appreciate that. Yeah. So as I said before, I am your practitioner today, and if you need any prayer support, you may feel free to see me after service. Before we get to today's reading, though, we will center ourselves with the great Becca Palm with our song, Breathe and Turn Within.
I'm playing, but there we go. I breathe and turn within. I breathe and turn within. I open up my heart and feel God's presence. I breathe and turn within. I breathe and turn within. I open up my heart and feel God's love again. I breathe and turn within. I breathe and turn within. I open up my heart and feel God's presence. I breathe and turn within. I breathe and turn within. I open up my heart and feel God's love. I pray and turn within. I pray and turn within. I open up my heart and feel God's presence. I pray and turn within. I pray and turn within. I open up my heart and feel God's love. I sing and turn within. I sing and turn within. I open up my heart and feel God's presence. I sing and turn within. I sing and turn within. I open up my heart and feel God's love. I open up my heart and feel God's love. I open up my heart and feel God's love.
I like it. All right, cool. That was our centering on. Okay, so today's reading, we are going to read from The Eye of the Storm. I know a lot of us has read this book, and we read it in our care circles at one point in time, and I just absolutely love this book. It's got such rich material. So if you have not read the book, I highly encourage that you read it. Your soul moves you towards challenges because they stretch you in ways that separate you from your falsehoods and dependencies. What you discover is that you are not your experiences. You are greater. This distinction, I am not my experience, is a key principle in discovering your wholeness. Often we use our conditions or situations as evidence of our well-being worth. I become less or more because of what happens to me. If I lose my job, get sick, or fail in a relationship, I may confuse these events with myself. I may become depressed or defeated. Yet in truth, I am not my experience. I may be challenged by what happens in my life, but I'm always greater than my challenges. My circumstances may appear limiting or difficult, but I am not bound by external conditions because I am spirit. In spirit, conditions are mental structures. In spirit, limitations are fragmented possibilities. Nothing is an obstacle to spirit because conditions arise in activity of spirit seeking to catch our attention so we may discover our true lives in God. Experiences are metaphors and mirrors of your belief system, and they serve as feedback to what you are making your life mean. They are portals, breaking and breakthrough points intended to awaken you to your magnificence. So let us turn within. So we just close our eyes, recognize that divine presence. We recognize that divine power. We recognize who we are as spirit in action, spirit in form. That is the truth of we are. Anything outside of ourselves is simply a reflection to what it is that we think with inside ourselves. And all the external conditions, we can choose however we want to choose to think about them. But who we are inside, our essence, is spirit. Who we are, our essence inside, is love. Who we are, our essence inside, is compassion. That is the truth in being from where we are. And when we come from that place and extend our spirit outwards to others, we know that we are making a difference not only to ourselves, but to the whole world around us. And so it is with this truth that I give great thanks. I give great thanks with this knowing. I give great thanks with this community. I give great thanks for all that is. In releasing these words into that great spirit of law, knowing that it is done, knowing that it is good, knowing that it is perfect, knowing that it is whole, and knowing that it is complete. I simply say, and so it is. And so now, Rebecca Palm.
In the stillness of this moment, there is peace. There is peace. In the stillness of this moment, there is peace. There is peace. And I rest and trust and breathe and know that in the stillness of this moment, there is peace. In the stillness of this moment, I am peace. I am peace. And in the stillness of this moment, I am peace. I am peace as I rest and trust and breathe and know in the stillness of this moment, I am peace. In the stillness of this moment, we are peace. We are peace. And in the stillness of this moment, we are peace. We are peace. So let's rest and trust and breathe and know that in the stillness of this moment, we are peace. In the stillness of this moment, I am peace. In the stillness of this moment, there is peace.
Oh, good morning, Genesis. So good to be here. So it's the first Sunday of September, and on the first Sunday, I like to review what we've gotten to in this year. This year, we're working on a grand rising, And we started in January with our White Stone ceremony, our vision. Many of us did vision boards, letters to God, to start to envision what our Grand Rising year was going to be like. Then in February, we moved to divine discontent, or uncomfortableness, as we called it. And this is where we learned about, I can do hard things. There's a part of our brain, the anterior cingulate cortex, which every time you do something hard, it makes it easier to do it the next time. And so, whenever I was actually talking with Becca about this, when I was a little kid and I was learning to ride bicycles, I loved riding bicycles downhill. And then I began appreciating riding bicycles uphill, because then I got to ride it downhill later on. And then I appreciated riding uphill because it made my lungs and my legs stronger, so I was more capable of riding bicycles. And now I know that I was also exercising the part of my brain that likes to do hard things. And so the more I rode bicycles uphill, the more I learned how to do hard things, which might have helped me in school and in life, knowing how to do hard things. So this is something we all can do. Divine discontent means that we can see something we'd like to change in the world, and we can make an intelligent choice, and we can do hard things. We can change that. In March, we talked about awakening to our divinity, that this is really part of a grand rising. The key to the grand rising is bringing the divinity into our daily lives, into our moment-by-moment lives. In April, we talked about giant gentleness, which I think is the nicest way. It's my favorite way to tell our ego how to expand into our divine selves. We want to be giant. We want to be big and expand into the oneness that we are, but gently. So giant gentleness. May, we moved from good to great to grand by leaning into our authenticity, not trying to pretend that we're something we're not. June was about holy boldness, that we are audacious, unique expressions of God. And then just this July, we learned practice makes imperfect. That if you try to do practice makes perfect, if you try to make all your actions fit into some crystalline, never-changing model, you're not allowing the reality of life, you're not allowing the flow of life to hit in the moment. And so just accepting and embracing the imperfection of life. And as we practice, every time we do it, it's different and hopefully better. August was the unstatus quo, how to do things differently, where we talked about things that we don't necessarily always talk about in church, like last week when Eric Odell came and talked about enjoying the election, enjoying the partisan divide, because we know that in the past, when we have been divided, we've managed to make a big pivot and a change, usually for the better. And so this is something we can look forward to as we experience the partisan divide. The goodness that we know is coming from it. September is rising from pieces into peace. Pieces into peace. Oh, there we go. A puzzle, that's perfect. And let's say the affirmation a couple times together. I easily tune into the peace at the center of my soul. I easily tune in to the peace at the center of my soul. So, Ernest Holmes says, says peace is always at the center of our own soul. When we're confused and asleep in the illusion of separation, there's no peace in our world. Spiritual wisdom and spiritual tools can help us awaken to the truth that peace is always in the center of our soul. So we're going to talk today about what is peace, how to cultivate inner peace, peace with others, peace in the community, and peace on earth. and we put the pieces together to rise up and be the peace we see in the world. I think peace in the world is an emergent property, that as more and more of us gain peace in the center of our soul, it rubs off. People who are with peaceful people can move into that peace that is our nature more easily, and then as we get a critical mass of us, we can bring more peace into the world. This is I don't know if you guys know about the transcendental meditation experiments they used to do, where they'd put offices in crime-ridden parts of the city, and then they'd arrange for somebody to be meditating in that office 24/7. And in all cases, in a year, the crime rate had dropped precipitously in that neighborhood. So the peace, it was just the peace in the neighborhood was causing some kind of an effect which reduced criminality, made people work better together. So we're going to start exploring what is peace by first talking about what is not peace, learning how Ernest Holmes, it's funny, my notes say Dr. Ernest Holmes. He got an honorary doctorate from a university in India. Academics don't like that when you claim your honorary doctorate as really a doctorate, but he really did. He wasn't a big studier, but he manifested this entire religious science. He wrote a massive book, The Science of Mind, and lots of other books. He really added to the sum total of human knowledge, wealth, and wisdom. And so I think giving him the honorary doctorate was well earned. Besides, could you imagine who he'd have to be on his dissertation committee to accept this whole new way of thinking about things? I'm not sure there were doctors, back in the day that would have done that. So Ernest Holmes, when he was in high school, he decided the career he wanted to engage in was, I think, what we call a social media influencer now. He wanted to be a public speaker, and back in the day, before radio, before television or the internet, people would come to town and give talks, and the talks, well, you'd go to the talks and you'd be edified. You'd come out educated, enlightened, enlivened by the talk. And so this is what he wanted to do. The school of public speaking he went to was run by a bunch of Christian scientists. And that's actually the Christian Science prayer, really the innovation of Mary Baker Eddy, was noticing that when we pray from God, as God, our prayers have immense power. People before that have been praying to God, and sometimes the prayers had immense power, but Mary Baker Eddy found this fantastic new power, and she learned a way to teach people to pray in that way. So Ernest Holmes, although he never formally studied Christian Science, the nature of him being around Christian scientists for 2 years, learning how to be a public speaker, the old-timey internet influencer, gave him that Christian Science prayer, which he changed into he modified to be a spiritual mind treatment. So he moved beyond the biblical God into the God of our experience. So Holmes said, "You and I know that no matter how confused we are, if we will get by ourselves long enough and think peace, we shall become peaceful. Peace is the divine reality at the heart of God. Peace is an announcement of the presence of God, and God is peace. Jesus said, 'Peace I leave with you, my peace I give I unto you, not as the world giveth, give I unto you.' So peace I leave with you, my peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth, Let not your hearts be troubled, neither let them be afraid. You believe in God, also believe in me. So Ernest, he also lived in a time when biblical quotes were much more common for people to express. And so he has these stealth Bible quotes in all his books, just because that was the way he spoke and people spoke. And this one's from John 14:27. So this is the part of Jesus' life. This is the Last Supper according to the book of the Gospel of John. He had just finished washing everybody's feet, so everybody's feet were clean, and they'd finished eating, and it was time for him to give a message. And the message was, peace I leave with you, my peace I give unto you. You believe in God, also believe also in me. So this was what he was giving to people. The message, today's message basically, move from pieces into peace. That the peace is there, it's part of us, it's within us. And we have to think about doing it because our nature is to be in pieces. In pieces is when we feel separate from other people. It's actually called the default mode network. And the way our brain and our body systems operate normally, naturally, is to be a little on edge, watching out for trouble, making sure everything's okay, feeling separate from people, and feeling, just enough anxious so that nothing goes wrong. But we don't have to do this. We can, and we will do this several times today, is learn to move from that little anxiety, little separation into the peace that is our nature, the peace that passeth beyond understanding, the peace that is at the core of us. So what is not peace like? Life can seem like it's happening to us. We can feel like victims. We're living life unconsciously, feeling separate from everything and everyone. It can include being reactive to a situation where we feel triggered by something someone said, an event in the world or something going on in our own lives, like a health challenge or financial stressor. We can feel hurt, angry, overwhelmed, out of control, and more. It can feel like our lives are in pieces and we don't know what to do. So this week, I had a few situations where I felt more in pieces than at peace. My baby brother died last Christmas Eve. He went to sleep on Christmas Eve and didn't wake up on Christmas morning. And it's interesting. I actually think about him in terms of, in the Christmas Carol, the ghosts of Christmas past and Christmas present. That I can imagine him in bed and the ghost of Christmas past visits and starts bringing him through that. So I first met him when I was 3. He was obviously 0. He always had drool on his chin, I think until he was about 3 years old. His chin was always shiny with drool. At first he couldn't walk at all, but he always had bright eyes and a ready smile. And then when he learned how to crawl, he first did it as an army crawl, where he just lay on his belly and pulled himself with his elbows. But he could move pretty fast with that army crawl. And so I think as the ghost of Christmas past brought him through his Christmas past, he started off just being a cuddly. He was named Ted after my father, but everybody called him Teddy Bear because he was so cuddly. He actually, when he went to school, he turned out to be very bright. He was athletic, he was personable, emotionally intelligent, he was a philosopher. He had all these things going. He was actually a performer. He loved performing in plays. He loved doing imitations of people. When he moved out to California, he became a musician. He learned to play the guitar. When I moved to Silicon Valley, I invited him to come and stay with me. And he actually he ended up for 3, 4, 5 years in Silicon Valley working in the high-tech world. And then he moved back to Connecticut, where he met the love of his life, and they came out to, by that time I was living in Seattle, and it was nice. They came out, they moved to Seattle and had my niece, their daughter Elsie. Actually, they had that on she was born on 9/11. So that was sort of an interesting thing. I remember visiting them in the hospital, and all the TV monitors were about the World Trade Center collapsing. And I didn't know at the time that the World Trade Center was designed by Minoru Yamasaki, who was the guy who designed the Pacific Science Center, the Rainier Building, and the IBM building downtown. So there was a Seattle connection that I only found out about later. But my niece was born, and she was born, amidst this trouble and strife, but she was also born to a family that loved her. Luckily, her mother's mother had flown out a few days before she was born, and so when they grounded all the flights in America for a month, Grandma got to stay with the baby, with this brand new baby for a month. You couldn't say, "Time to go, Mom," because she couldn't. So anyway, it was fun having them in Seattle. Eventually, they moved back to Connecticut for work, and I visited them fairly regularly. But really, I haven't seen my niece since she was a teenager. She's 23 now. So I wanted to go back not only to sort of honor and celebrate my baby brother's life, but also to look at the teen. And I think this is what the ghosts of Christmas past and Christmas present were. When the ghost of Christmas past came, he was like, "Look at this, what your life has been." And the ghost of Christmas present, I think, is more about her. But when I would think about him, there's sort of, whenever you lose a family member, you always feel a loss, and nobody ever expected, the youngest one to die first, but you really never know. What we do know is that he's at peace, he's in wholeness, we are more than these bodies, and so his consciousness is being that same brilliant, bright-eyed consciousness somewhere else in the universe. He lives in eternity now, and outside the human body. And it was, but what I did, as I felt sort of waves of grief or waves of wanting things to be different come upon me, was I did an Ernest Holmes practice called Stop, Drop, and Pray. And I want to teach you guys this. And so I'm going to be thinking about, my little brother, but I'd like you to think about anything that makes you feel like a victim, like you don't want life to be like it is, any sort of minorly disturbing thing. Not the most disturbing thing. Not while you're practicing. You can do the most disturbing one later. Or you can do it now if you feel like that's what you've got. I can't stop you. But that thing you're thinking about. So let's look at it and we see that this is what we're experiencing now. We feel like life is happening to us, that this is not what we would have chosen. So we stop and see that. And then we can drop into our hearts. And as we drop in our hearts, if you feel like it, you can put your hand on your heart, but just bring your awareness to your heart and breathe into your heart. And what I'd like you to do is bring the emotion of gratitude in that, the feeling of gratitude, and gratitude for anything that you love. It could be a favorite pet, it could be a family member, a beloved family member. In my case, I think about my little brother, proud to be a dad, happy to be living back in his home state. And you can feel the gratitude, the love, the peace growing and filling your heart. And as you notice it, we move into that state of eternity, into that timeless place. As we lean back into that love, into that peace. And we notice that it's surrounding and interpenetrating us. As we lean back into it, we notice that we are it and it is us. It's hard to tell the difference where we end and where it begins. And now from the point of view of that peace, from that peace, we pray. This is the third part. And we pray, we know that we are peace. We are love. We are freedom. This is our very nature. We are peaceful and we bring peace wherever we are, to everybody around us, to our communities, to our friends, and to ourselves. We can feel the power and the presence in that peace in ourselves. And we can know that that is us. And feeling that feeling, we now know we are grateful. We are grateful for the sure knowledge. We are grateful for the technique that allows us to move from pieces into peace, to stop, drop, and pray. And we release and let go of this prayer, knowing that our very nature is peace, our very nature is power and presence and freedom. And as always our nature, it's always available to us whenever we like. So now allow yourselves to breathe deeply one more time and move back into the present. So Ernest Holmes says that peace moves us from the feeling of being separate in the world to the realization of the oneness of all that is, that God's source is at the center of our being. God's source, by the way, there are different faces of God. The Center for Spiritual Living generally loves us to come into the moment of experiencing ourselves as God. But it's just as legitimate to have a God outside of us, a God that is our best friend, our most noble parent, the person in our lives, the beingness in our lives that knows what we want, knows what is best for us, that we can give any problem to, and they will come back to us with that solution, which is perfect. Sometimes that works better for you. You know, it's nice to have a God that's bigger than we are. You know, even as when I find myself in the peace, that's pretty big. But sometimes we want a little more than that. Ernest Holmes, he defines peace in the Glossary of the Science of Mind textbook, which was his first big bestseller. It says, peace, a state of inner calm, an inner calm so complete that nothing can disturb it. The peace which comes only from the knowledge that it is all. Fathomless peace is meant by the peace of the Spirit. Fathomless peace, so in the depths. Peace, this is the peace to which Jesus referred when he said, peace I leave with you, my peace I give unto you. And the apostles really needed it, because then he was gone in the physical body. And they needed to create a whole church. The infinite is always at peace because there's nothing to disturb it. A realization of our oneness with omnipresence brings peace, the peace that's accompanied by a consciousness of power. And this peace also, I think, brings freedom from worldly concerns, freedom from victimhood. You know, we are free to be peaceful. there's an other tool Ernest Holmes liked to use to bring us into peace. And this is good when I want to bring us to the Ghost of Christmas Present. And this is thinking about, my niece Elsie. So she graduated from college, and then in her gap year in New Zealand, her father died. Her mother had already moved off with her stepfather to Florida. And so she was feeling fairly isolated in the world. And so it's nice to see her, and to see her at peace. And what Ernest Holmes says, and let's just take this in. I am surrounded by peace. I am immersed in peace. There is nothing but peace. Peace, deep, calm, undisturbed. Let's do that one more time. Let's move our awareness back into our hearts. And as we move it into our hearts, we feel the feeling of gratitude, of peace coming up. We feel the oneness and stillness of having our consciousness in eternity, and the connection of the oneness consciousness. As we know, we are surrounded by peace. We are immersed in peace. There is nothing but peace. Our peace is deep, calm, undisturbed. We are surrounded by peace. We are immersed in peace. There is nothing but peace. Our peace is deep, calm, and undisturbed. And so that's another way to bring the peace, is to use those words of Ernest Holmes that I think deserve to be on a business card somewhere. I'll probably work on that. Ernest Holmes says, my peace is found at the heart of God. This peace within you now, this peace is within you now, and you can access it by consciously having a grand rising beyond the appearance of separation and moving into that place of oneness and deep peace that is always within. Peace comes from a sense of union with the whole. Confusion comes from a sense of separation. So it's interesting when Ernest Holmes, of course, had his first church in Venice Beach, Los Angeles. So he had lots of movie stars were among his students. Cecil B. DeMille, of Bible story fame, was there. He could make, this is one of the ways you can understand him making those epic movies with thousands or hundreds of extras. But he had that peace within him. He could always move into that ocean of peace. Peggy Lee, has so many wonderful songs. The only one I can think of right now is He's a Tramp, but I love him. Breaks a new heart every day. Which not only did she do that, and became a bestseller, but she actually managed to have the wherewithal and the ability to talk to Disney later about getting more royalties for it than, she got like a few $100s, I think, for royalties for the song, but managed to get a much larger sum of money by hiring a lawyer to explain it to Disney. And so I think This is the peace. Instead of being frustrated and feeling like a victim of Disney, she's like, no, there are laws here that can help me. And Cary Grant, of course. There are times, one of the things I love about having streaming movies and DVDs, versus my childhood when you always had to go to the movie theater, is you can create your own Cary Grant Film Festival. And so just to imagine him, as he creates all these wonderful, extremely lovable characters on screen, that he had all these tools. He had the ability to go to the peace within him. He had the ability to stop, drop, and pray to get out of the franticness into, his peaceful total self. So, and that's a little pitch for my course, The Essential Earnest Homes, where we'll talk, we talk biographically about Ernest's life and about who he affected and how he affected and what his life was like, but also all the different aspects of life he talked about. He was active for many decades, and people came to him with questions and problems and issues, from reincarnation to death to birth to politics. And he came up with, we're not required to agree with him. He came up with interesting answers to them all. Some of the answers you could see are products of his time. In many ways, most ways, he was way ahead of his time, and has answers that we need to keep following now. So that's how to bring pieces into peace. The whole month of September is going to be about pieces into peace. But I think I wanted to start off with a toolkit so that we know how to move into peace in our hearts, because that's our place of power. When we are at peace, when we're in our default mode network, we're in stress, and so we have worse health. We're more guarded. When we're sitting at peace, when we're activating our vagus nerve, then we have more friends, we're friendlier, we're happier, we're more abundant, we're healthier. All this stuff, isn't our default, but we can work on it. We can always move back to that, and we can make it into our new default. This is how we form habits. And if it's hard, we know how to do hard things. And the more we practice, the easier it becomes for us. So, I'm going to remind you that whenever you feel at stress, when you feel victimhood, when you feel like a victim, when you feel like the world is going wrong, you can stop, drop into your heart, into the peace that you are, and pray. And pray for what you want, not for what you don't want. Pray for peace, pray for freedom, pray for health. Whatever it is you want, that will come to you, because you're at a point of power. Know, that I'll make sure everybody has the affirmation. I am surrounded by peace. I am immersed in peace. There is nothing but peace. Peace, deep, calm, undisturbed. So that we all have that available to us whenever we need it. Sometimes you're driving and it's hard, but it's nice to have it nearby. Ernest Holmes said, peace comes from a sense of union with the whole. Confusion comes from a sense of separation. So let's say this, peace at the center of everything. I easily tune into the peace at the center of my soul. I easily tune into the peace at the center of my soul. Last time, I easily tune into the peace that is the center of my soul. And that is true, that is our very nature, always available to us. And now, it is time for prayers. The first thing I encourage you to do is to fill out the demonstration side of the card and just think of any time you've had a prayer answered. By writing that down, it makes all your prayers more powerful. It is the I can do hard things of praying. And then a prayer for anything, something in your life, something in the world, something in a friend's life. And yeah, prayer music, thank you. Let's hear beautiful music from Becca.
What would it look like if I traveled towards peace in my mind, into the unknown, in that stillness? What would I find? Maybe the strength and passion to change my view, embracing all my life with you. The voice of peace is calling. It's rising up, filled with the courage to honor every prayer. A journey home to wholeness, where we are one. Travel on, and I'll meet you there. What would it feel like if we traveled as peace everywhere? Listening, forgiving one another, and if we dare, freeing ourselves from hunger and war and strife, feeling the joy in sharing life. The voice of peace is calling, it's rising up, filled with the courage to honor every prayer. A journey home to wholeness, where we are one. Travel on, and I'll meet you there. Hate and oppression, poison and destroy. Is this something we'll allow? 'Cause peace has more power as we choose it right now. The voice of peace is calling, it's rising up, filled with the courage to honor every prayer. A journey home to wholeness, where we are one. Travel on. The voice of peace is calling. It's rising up, filled with the courage to honor every prayer. A voice of hope to wholeness, where we are one. Travel on, and I'll meet you there. Travel on, travel on.
Thank you, Becca. That was awesome. So now we know that our center is supported by God, and we welcome you to be part of how God's support shows up. If you are on Facebook, you can visit our website at genesiscsl.org, or you can text your tithe to 206-800-7595. Let us take a moment to craft our financial gift. Now we can hold our prayer and offering next to our heart as we say our offering blessing together. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and I am thankful. And I believe, Christy, you are doing the offering today, so let us sing. God is my source, as Christy comes around and collects the offering.
God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, everything I need. God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need.
And so with open hearts we receive these gifts, knowing that fruits come forth to powerful works. We bless the givers, knowing that as we give, we receive tenfold. In deep gratitude, we give thanks, and so it is. Thank you for joining us today. Come join us for food and fellowship after service. Let's stand and sing our release.